Scene script. Imagine standing alone in a dense forest at night with only the stars for company. It's scary, isn't it? But what if you're not alone? Picture this. You're in a vast forest, the trees towering above you, their branches rustling in the inky blackness. Alone, you may feel small, vulnerable, and insignificant. But consider this. What if you're not alone? What if instead of a solitary figure, you're part of a collective, a group, a community? Suddenly that forest doesn't seem so daunting anymore. Welcome to the power of unity. In unity there is strength. It's a concept as old as the hills, yet as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago. Just like a single tree in the forest may seem weak and vulnerable, an individual in society can often feel alone and overwhelmed. But together, as a unified force, we can be as formidable as a forest. This unity, this sense of togetherness, is what makes us strong. It helps us to weather the storms of life, to stand tall in the face of adversity, and to flourish in even the most challenging conditions. But let's take a step back. Look around. Do you see unity? In a world where divisions seem to deepen every day, where empathy seems to be in short supply, unity can be hard to find. Our society, much like a forest, is composed of diverse individuals. However, unlike the harmonious ecosystem of the forest, we often find ourselves divided, alienated, and isolated. The lack of unity and empathy in today's society is a problem that affects us all. It weakens our collective strength, hinders our progress, and sows seeds of discord. It's a problem that needs addressing, and it's a problem that we together can solve. Unity is not just about standing together. It's about understanding each other, supporting each other, and working together for a common goal. It's about recognizing our shared humanity, our shared dreams, and our shared struggles. So if unity is so powerful, then why do we often find ourselves divided? It's easy to point fingers and blame others, but the root of the problem lies within us. Now let's roll up our sleeves and dig into this. Firstly, let's address the elephant in the room: selfishness. It's an inherent trait, a survival instinct, if you will. We all want the best for ourselves, and sometimes in that pursuit, we forget to consider the needs of others. Picture this, a group project where one person hogs all the credit, leaving others feeling unheard and unappreciated. This isn't just about group projects, though. It's a microcosm of society. Then there's misunderstanding. We all have different perspectives shaped by our unique experiences and backgrounds. Imagine two friends arguing over a misunderstood text message, their relationship strained. It's not the words that are the problem, but the lack of understanding. Extend this scenario to a broader scale, and you can see how misunderstandings can cause rifts in communities and even nations. Lastly, let's talk about lack of communication. The truth is, we're not mind readers. Without clear and open communication, misunderstandings multiply and resentment builds. Think about a time when you and a loved one had a fallout, all because of a simple lack of communication. When we don't express our thoughts and feelings, we create a breeding ground for division. These problems, selfishness, misunderstanding, lack of communication, are not just individual issues. They ripple out, causing divisions on a larger scale, fracturing our communities, our societies. But they are not insurmountable. They are not immovable mountains, but hurdles we can leap over, obstacles we can navigate around. Remember, these issues are not the whole of us. They're parts of us, yes, but so is our capacity for change, for growth, for unity. We have the power to acknowledge these problems, to face them head-on, and to work towards resolving them. But fear not, for every problem, there's a solution. And that's what we'll explore next. Stay with me as we journey towards understanding, empathy, and ultimately, unity. It's time to introduce a powerful tool that can bridge the divide: empathy. Imagine walking a mile in someone else's shoes, feeling their joy, their pain, their hopes, and their fears as if they were your own. This is the essence of empathy. It's not just about understanding another person's perspective, but truly feeling it. Empathy is the thread that weaves the fabric of human connection. It's the language that heart speaks when words fail. Let's dive a little deeper. Empathy, as defined by researchers, is our ability to sense other people's emotions, coupled with the capacity to imagine what someone else might be thinking or feeling. It's like a mental and emotional passport, allowing us to travel across borders of personal experience and cultural differences. Now, you might be wondering, how does empathy help us? Well, consider this. Have you ever felt misunderstood, alone, or disconnected? We've all been there. It's in these moments that empathy shines the brightest. When someone empathizes with us, we feel seen, heard, and understood. That sense of connection can lighten our burdens and make us feel less alone. But empathy isn't just about making us feel good. It's a catalyst for change. Studies have shown that when people empathize with each other, they are more likely to help each other. They become less judgmental, more caring, and more willing to take action to alleviate another's suffering. Here's an example to illustrate this point. In the 1960s, a psychologist named Stanley Milgram conducted an experiment. Participants were more likely to defy orders to administer electric shocks to another person when they could see or hear the other person's discomfort. In other words, empathy made them more likely to stand up against wrongdoing. This is the transformative power of empathy. It's not just a feel-good concept, but a tool for social change. It's a bridge that can span the chasm of misunderstanding, prejudice, and indifference. So the next time you find yourself at odds with someone, remember to engage your empathy. Try to understand their perspective, feel their emotions, and connect with their humanity. Empathy is our beacon in the dark, leading us towards unity. We've identified empathy as our tool, but how do we foster it within ourselves? Empathy isn't just an instinct, it's a skill we can cultivate. So let's dive into some practical steps to foster empathy. Firstly, practice active listening. Active listening means giving your full attention to the person speaking, not just waiting for your turn to talk. It's about hearing the words, understanding the emotions behind them, and reflecting them back. Imagine a friend is sharing a problem with you. Instead of jumping in with advice or trying to fix the problem, you might say, "That sounds really tough. You must be feeling really overwhelmed." That's active listening. Next, strive to be open-minded. Open-mindedness means challenging our own preconceived notions and biases. It's about recognizing that our perspective is just one among many. Let's say you meet someone with a viewpoint drastically different from yours. Instead of dismissing them offhand, you might think, "I wonder why they see things that way. What experiences have led them to this belief?" That's being open-minded. Lastly, practice kindness. Kindness is the heart of empathy, the act of extending warmth and understanding to others. It's about treating others as we wish to be treated. Picture yourself standing in a long queue at a grocery store. The cashier is struggling to keep up. Instead of getting impatient, you might give them a reassuring smile and say, "Take your time, we all have those days." That's practicing kindness. These are skills anyone can cultivate. They don't require any special talents or abilities. All they require is a willingness to step outside of ourselves and see the world through the eyes of another. And as we nurture these skills, they become second nature, transforming not just our relationships, but the very way we move through the world. So start fostering empathy today. Practice active listening. Be open-minded. Extend kindness. And remember, every step, no matter how small, brings us closer to understanding and unity. With these tools at our disposal, unity is within reach. Let's envision a world where empathy reigns and unity is the norm. A world where we don't just coexist, but coalesce, forming a collective strength that can move mountains and mend hearts. Now imagine the impact of such unity on our personal relationships. The misunderstandings that often lead to rifts would be replaced with compassion and empathy. The walls we often build around ourselves would crumble, replaced by bridges of understanding. Each one of us, in our own unique way, would contribute to a harmonious symphony of human connection. Now extend this image to a community level. Imagine a neighborhood, a city, a nation, where unity is not just a concept, but a lived reality. Social issues like poverty, inequality, and injustice would be tackled not by a few, but by all. Because when we stand together, we stand stronger. Research shows that communities with higher levels of social cohesion are more resilient and possess greater capacity to address challenges collectively. But the impact doesn't stop there. Let's take it a step further. Consider the society at large. A united society is a prosperous society. It's a society where every individual's potential is recognized and nurtured, where every voice matters. Studies have found that societies with a high degree of unity have lower crime rates, greater economic prosperity, and higher levels of happiness. But unity is not a destination, it's a journey. It's a conscious choice we make every day. It's about choosing to understand rather than judge, to listen rather than ignore, to extend a hand rather than turn a blind eye. And so we circle back to the beginning. To envision a world of unity is not an exercise in futility. It's a call to action. It's a challenge to each one of us to be a pebble that creates ripples of change. So are you ready to step out of the forest and into the light of unity?